Recording. Yep. So welcome all. So this is the Pathways to Peace and Justice Commission. So I am going to present today uh, for the so my topic is art-based method is more ethical and safeguarding oriented for peace and justice. So that's the idea. So how the performance and arts we can use in method as a method, and that can support the peace research. That's the idea. I remember yesterday the Professor Chayo also talking about using film and other artistic techniques. I think I am like a little bit talking about such kind of creativity. So I am not dealing about the method actually. I am more focusing on how those method can support to make our research more following the ethical research, or more making our research more peace oriented, or like ensuring more justice. That's the whole idea here. So I have just 5 or 6 slides. More I like to more like focus on discussion. So in this slide, so my focus today is how participatory art-based method can encourage peace researcher to raise issue around safeguarding and make our peace research more ethical. That's the main question of this presentation, which I am going to address. So there are a few other questions. I think that is a part of responses, or part of like our kind of concern. We have to all of you who are here, you can think about these questions also. So what could be the ethical implication of raising concerns through participatory research method? How do you identify and respond to safeguarding concerns raised through participatory arts as a researcher or the other stakeholders? Or how much could the storytelling or kind of artistic method, or maybe movie, film, or drama, or music performances can contribute to reporting within the research project? So many times the idea is, can we think about arts-based method as a data collection tool? Can we think about art-based method as a data reporting? Like we are reporting as a film, we are reporting as a drama, we are reporting as a song. Can we do that for peace research? That's also one idea. So now moving towards the main concepts we have used in this I have used in this presentation is safeguarding. So what is safeguarding in research? So if we go through the different literatures, the literature and the different authors define safeguarding is approach to protect vulnerable people from harm, whether malicious or unintended. Also, in this process, we have to believe and respond to concern through a systematic approach. It also includes safeguarding of respondents, innovators, or our supporters, researcher, research team, all stakeholders. That might include our locals, direct or indirect, other people also who are going to part of our research. So also, it is not only about the people, it's also about the brand, image of our research project, image of our organization, image of our participants organization, image or brand of the community. So it also deals about the reputation and also research itself. So there are very broader perspective for the safeguarding. We have to think how we can make sure, how we can ensure all these aspects, all these people plus our organization plus our branding, reputation, all just remain intact or remain ethical. Maybe we are familiar with the idea of protection. I have also seen in a lot of like research project, they use the word protection, like protecting our respondent, protecting other stakeholders. So when we use the word protection, that gives more sense of power over. That means, as a researcher, I am strong, I am powerful, and we assume that is a researcher organization, they are powerful, so they have to protect the participant, they have to protect the respondent. But now the idea has been shifted because sometimes even researcher can be vulnerable, because we are going to field, and the community might be different. They might have more power than researcher. We might have power in publication, how we publish, how we write. At the same time, when we conduct the field, even the community, they might have different kind of power resources. So even we as a researcher might need protection. Even our organization, sometimes the reputation, sometimes the sponsors reputation, our branding also need protection. That's why the new concept safeguarding came as a more inclusive term. It try to safeguard, it try to protect, it try from the harm against people, against respondent, against research team, against our organization, against the organization of local people also. So it is kind of very broader, protecting the image, protecting the other aspect of everyone. That is kind of like broader idea in safeguarding. So even as a peace researcher, I know we all work directly with different diverse group. Like sometimes we work with youth, sometimes with children, sometimes with different cultural groups in complex setting. Sometimes we work in very post-conflict setting, or maybe sometimes we also work during the conflict setting also. So in that time also, we need lot of sensitivity. For us, many times we will not be able to protect other people because we might not have that power. So how we ensure that when we are conducting our project, we ensure our our safeguarding in our respondent safeguarding. That is kind of like big concerns here. So it is very vital to have a clear understanding of and commitment to international safeguarding standard and our ethical process, ethical sensitivity, when to conduct research, how to conduct research, what are the conditions, minimum standards we have to fulfill before we start our research, or during our field, or during when we write our report, or how we present. These all issues are very important there, and how they can be applied and shaped by local practices is very very important, because many times we bring international standard, we forgot to adapt, we forgot to apply the local practices into that. So also we have to take care of the local practices. So we have to respect their cultural, local, indigenous scenario. So that we have to. So many times we have to be careful that we should be very aware, mindful about making the own standard that also be part of international standard. We are under the norms of international standard. We also follow the local practices in that standard. And our work should not put the children, youth, other respondents, other people, ourselves also, not in the further risk. Maybe we cannot reduce risks. Sometimes it will be very wonderful if we can reduce the risk. If not, we do not escalate the risk. That's the very important task as a researcher for us. We should not contribute for increasing the risk. Rather, we should focus on reducing the risk even during the research, because our agenda as a peace researcher is to promote peace, to support, to contribute to provide justice, to support in reducing conflict. That's what is very important in that way. So research staff need to be equipped with the skills and support to remain safe, and also provide, contribute for the social good, social safety, and other parameters for our respondents. So we need safety skills for both ourselves, our research team, as well as our respondents, our target communities. So that is kind of like broader idea of safeguarding, because I introduced this as a broader idea. Now going back to our topic is more about use of arts and performances in research and how safeguarding issue will be there. So I am just taking one example. It is not like I'm not arguing 100% that it will work better. So it is perfect, but it is kind of one example how it's supported. Also, Nora is here. Nora Bahadur also, he was kind of part my collaborator in Nepal when we are working different research project. So when we are using playback theater as a data collection tool, so we are using art and performance as a data collection tool. That is our experiment, our trial as a research method. And it recounted a positive experience in case of Nepal. So safeguarding issues in that process arise organically. Even the I remember one conversation with one participant even after the event. She said that she was not willing to tell anything during the event, and she had some issues of some post-conflict trauma. She was not willing to share that. But when she joined the our data collection workshop, she was moved. by the openness and the environment. And she also found it very comfortable, very easy to express her feelings, her emotions, her reality, her stories. That is like very important positive experience for me also. So more convenient, more comfortable data collection tool than traditional interview method or traditional survey method or traditional FGD method. Many times in FGD, in interview and in survey, we have different power play. That means we are asking questions and someone is giving responses. So it's kind of more interrogation like police or other like our traditional spaces, more using that. So it is very, very, very important to when we are using performance arts, we realize that we do not ask questions directly. We try to use the performance as a method to express ourselves, and we encourage people to express themselves. That's that kind of environment we create, and it deeply realized that arts and performance carries empathy and compassionate values automatically, and it helps to have more empathetic, more compassionate communication, more peaceful communication. So that helps to express people comfortably. So if we relate this to the difficult setting, if we are suppose if we are studying about the difficult topics, suppose the case of post-violence, or if we are interviewing or trying to gather information about the uh, some harassment or maybe some violence, maybe including say rape or sexual violence or other kind of violence, which can have very difficult message. People might feel very difficult to report that during interview or FCD. So we found people have I don't say it's completely comfortable, but at least compared to those traditional non-art based method, art based method provides relatively easier, comfortable environment to communicate the difficult message. It is kind of a bit easier, a bit comfortable, at least. For some people, it might be more comfortable. For some people, it might be still difficult. But I, I found that in case of Nepal, when we are using art-based method, that was a bit making the process of research, the process of study, a bit more comfort, more empathy oriented, more compassion oriented through the more performance based tool. So performance can help expressing many issues in post violence setting. That is kind of like our concluding remarks. And also it helps to frame creatively how to present multiple voices at the same time, because in post uh, like post-modernist or post-positivist research method is a new trend in peace research. We believe in critical theory, or we believe in more social sciences. It has we have to present a lot of like epistemologically multiple voices in our reporting, in our data collection. So art-based method is the it can allow to include multiple voices. Also it can allow to juxtapose, to present the contrasting voices together, also without negating other. So we don't have to negate other people when we are presenting other multiple voices. So that is kind of one. So conclusion could be like art-based approaches can help researcher access, illuminate, describe, and explain that which is often invisible by other methodological approaches. Because empathy, healing, reconciliation, which are very, very much strong pillar of peace, most of the time ignored by other methodological concern. But art-based method can clearly make visible the empathy, the healing, the reconciliation capacity through performance arts with. So before ending my presentation, I am expressing, I am like, I am here, I am showing few questions. This is developed by UKRI and the UK based research, high level research organization. So they have developed 4 set of questions for the researcher. We have to ask this question to ourselves, and we have to make sure we are addressing all these questions so that it helps to make our research, our work more ethical, more safeguarding oriented. So there are 4 themes. The first one is transparency. The question for ourselves is, am I being completely honest about the limitation of myself as a researcher and of my research to avoid raising false hope or expectation? Also, am I being open and reflective about my own biases and the gaps in my knowledge or experiences? Am I confident about raising and discussing safeguarding concern with the research team? So these are the transparency issue. Also about the accountability and governance in research. There are four questions for myself, for ourselves as a researcher. How am I, as a member of the research team, modeling best practice in terms of my personal conduct and treating others with integrity, dignity, and respect? So rather than telling people we have to be ethical, how I am presenting that, how I am modeling that. That's a big question for me. How will I feed back to the research participant and communities on the use of their data? Have I asked them whether and how they want this to happen? How am I trying to learn about the participants or the communities' own ideas about risk, harm, and how to keep themselves safe? What training and development have I received in relation to how and when to raise concern? And last two set of questions similarly about rights of victims, survivors, or whistleblower. When we are dealing with research, there might be victims, survivors, or whistleblowers also. How we ensure their rights? There are six questions for us as a peace researcher. We should be able to answer these questions. We should think about these questions. Do I know what my rights as a researcher? Do I know about being able to refuse to go to location or undertake interviews or to leave if I feel unsafe, uncomfortable? Do I know what safety protocols are in place to protect me? What sources of advice and support are available to me through my home institution, office, or locally? If an incident occur, do I have the correct up-to-date contact detail of local authority officers so I can contact in case of emergency? Do I face any additional risk based on my contractual agreement? Is it freelance, temporary kind of agreement that may affect my rights or access to support in the event of safeguarding incident or concern? Am I clear about what to do if I have a bystander concern? For example, about an incident affecting someone not directly involved in my research. Do I know what I'll do and say if an interviewee reports a case and asks me for help in dealing with it? So last question in this segment is, am I confident that I can raise concern freely without fear of reprisal? So finally, when you deal about equity and fairness, there are three questions for ourselves, for myself, for you, for all the researcher, all the peace researcher. What are the equity and fairness concerns? So what measures are in place to ensure fairness in compensating and acknowledging all parties' contribution to the research? How do I consider power dynamics in the consenting process? Have I carefully explained all aspects of consent throughout contacts with participants and checked their understanding? How do I consider and plan to mitigate negativity, power dynamics in interviews and focus group, etc.? Yeah, these are my presentation about safeguarding concern in using research. Thank you. I end here my presentation.
Thank you, Rajib, for your presentation. It is really very interesting one because I think this is also part of how we can find new novelty of the methodology as well. So basically, by having art and music and other performances, then it's also, I think, it soften the tension.
Yeah.
It as you said, it is really relating with compassion and empathetic relation, especially on conflict situation. Thank you very much for bringing that issue in our discussion. Then Cahyo has the question. Cahyo, would you like to talk by yourself, or I just need to read this one? Cahyo said that it is very interesting presentation
Mm.
from Bro
Rajib.
Rajib.
Yeah.
We usually in here we can
Yeah.
call it Bro. uh, would you like to explore what kind of topic that can be investigated by art and performance, and would you like to explore what stages needed to conduct art-based method?
Okay. Thank you. So shall I respond this first, or we call it other questions also?
Yeah, I think I will going to ask other people to give response, and then later on you can answer the question. Bu Priska maybe, or Pramila Bisunke Nar.
Yep, if I may. Hello,
Okay,
Rajib.
please.
It's very interesting presentations. Uh, Basically, myself, if I'm based in the art school, so we almost every time we are using the art or artistic based methods for our research. So it is very interesting in comparison with Nepal, because I just like to share a little bit of the experience. Well, the participatory methods with the people. Um, what my student and I did last year is like this. We asked the people in the banks of the Ciliwung River here in Jakarta to record um, a glimpse of film. So they have like the data, visual data of their surroundings, whether it is good or the environment is bad, whether they are having floods or having like some social disturbance in there. So and at the end, after 6 months period, we compile it into a kind of documentary, and the result is pretty good. So uh, you can also probably do that in Nepal. So it's based on the Nepal view. But on the other hand, what my research in Batam is like this: we use we introduce the art-based method to the government, the local government, and what happened is they like impose the Malay culture to the city of Batam people. What happened is city of Batam kind of very multicultural, very um, uh, what we call many people from many backgrounds is there. So when we introduce something like that, it is not really give reconciliation. It creates disturbance. So there are two types of things that we can consider in using this art methodology itself. But what happened in Ambon, if you're quite familiar with Ambon, Ambon is known as a city of music in Indonesia, and they having like quite social disturbance a few years back. And after a while, it can really create good reconciliation between the youths. So until now, but it is like this: if the government support the area for the youth reconciliation, it can make not really like a reset, but it can make the project into the realization, and it's quite good. Otherwise, it is just like, just like well, you got this project, you have to do that, and then after that, well, you just satisfied with whatever doing, but you still leave the piece. I don't know. They might be have like some just negative piece, not the positive part. All right, that's my sharing, Rajib. Thank you.
Thank you, Priska. I think that's very interesting also, because I remember last year.
Hang on, Rajib. Are you going to answer the question or not?
I'm also reflecting back to Priska. So
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to answer directly because maybe. Okay, then. No, you go,
okay. So
Rajib.
last year when I was in Indonesia, also I briefly met Sri also at the time, and after that I went to observe some of those center. I couldn't go to Ambon. Maybe this year I had planned to go Ambon. Maybe I'll come back when the pandemic will go, and then I go to Ambon and maybe Papua also to visit like certain idea. But I visited Betawi culture, and I also I met there were a few cultural groups. They are based on Chilwing River. I went with them how they are promoting art-based method to promote the idea of environment cleaning and safety in Chilwing River. So there are certain Betawi cultural performance center, the drama group also. I met them. I have some recording. I have some small videos also from them, because I was trying to learn from them. Thank you, Priska, because I can relate like how you are using with your young people. That maybe I can answer this with also Professor Chai a little bit, shifting this, because there are different ways of applying arts and performance method. Uh, so many times we have to distinguish this two, three idea. One, whether we are using arts and performance method as a product. Many research, many other thing, they try to use arts performance as a product. like to increase awareness in certain communities, or to increase, or to share our research ideas or maybe findings. Here also we are talking about using arts performance as a method. So many there are also argument that when people are working very traditional conventional method, like in political science, sociology, or anthropology, they focus on interview, FGD, survey kind of model. At the same time, there is also idea called participant observation. So when we are dealing with cultural group, we can use participant observation in real setting. But now there is strong, in last 10 years I have seen that a lot of new methodological issues are increased, and so there are a lot of strong social science methods emerge as an art based method, ABR as a tool for data collection. In case of Nepal, like, I have three experiences so far in last 2 years. One, I was trying to conduct one study about understanding of children, understanding of children about civic national values in Nepal and Kenya. We did comparative study in Kenya and Nepal. We applied same method. What we did, we developed like certain idea of like a simple question like what do we understand by the word community? When we ask this question for the children or the young people of grade 5, grade 6, and we ask them not to answer us directly, like answer. We allow them, we give them graffiti. So they can paint what, like, how they understand the community. Or we can ask them, what kind of community do you like the most? Can you paint that? Can you show that painting? What are the values you want to see in your community? Good values. Or what part you don't like about your community? We can check what are the bad values they don't like, the children doesn't like in communities. So that is one way. So we are trying to do exactly like when we conduct survey, perception survey with adult. I think we can do the perception understanding check with the participant using painting, or maybe also we can ask them, they are free to be, they are creative, they can express poem, they can write poetry poem about their community, or maybe mutual understanding, cultural diversity, or tolerance. We can take like peace, justice, or maybe also we have some manual also. I have, if you like, I can share also that. This is called Mobile Arts for Peace Manual, map manual. So it has a lot of games or activities like tree model. We all have studied the tree conflict analysis model, the root cause, the trunk, and the effects of conflict, the tree model. Even we can take big tree picture. We can mobilize, we can talk with participant to fill those branches with the root causes or problems. So we can also make some role plays or drama. So we can apply different kind of games performance also to gather the real social issues through more like. Also I remember in Nepal we have one day, this is called festival of Tees. The Tees is for the woman. They go back to their maternal home and they sing a song. They report back what happened to them the entire year. What were the problem? What are the suffocation? What are the difficulties they face in their home, their husband's home? So they report back to their maternal home. That festival we have through the song and music. So that means we can apply exactly same kind of creative way of expressing, because many times we have seen that when I come and say you did this to me, I need a lot of courage to tell that. If some harassment is happening within office, in senior officer or harasser, perpetrator, if there are a junior like employee or the victim, it's difficult for them to raise the voice. So if they got chance to express, they can express through music, satirical poem, cartoon. It can be different, so they have more easier option to share that. Okay, in this office, the office is like, we can see in every country we have satirical like cartoons. Even we can use the cartoon like sketches to raise those kind of satirical voice about the organization. So what are the harassment or working environment in organization, we can check that. Even with community, I think we can check understanding, we can check post conflict issues, root causes. So there can be multiple different. I think what we can do from interview, what we can do from FGD, we can do from arts and performance also. Only we are using different technique. That is only we are replacing the tools, but exactly we can record uh, differently, because the recording will not be in the statement, clear statement how we get in interview, but in arts we get the artistic product. So we have to analyze back as a researcher. Now how do we interpret, how do we analyze those findings? That is our skill now. We have to analyze that, but data collection can be done through the arts. That is one. Based on the art, now we have to interpret, we have to write. Now we have two choices. We can even prepare our report product in art form, like video, film, book of the comics, or maybe like this. Or we can write properly scientific report like this, what we do from traditional, because we can use art-based method, but we can convert that into analysis or story, or maybe paragraph. So we can report back to again in the proper journal article also. So that is our work as a researcher. So there's no limitation, I think, about the topic or areas to use art-based method. We can be creative. Which method can give which kind of answer? I think we have to be very creative about that. So we can use music, we can use performance, we can use painting, we can use comic, or we can use sketch. But I think it should be also familiar with the people. If we are going to work with less educated people, maybe we might not, we can't use the writing in the graph. Maybe we can more use the singing, or maybe it depends on the level of education awareness, or what kind of method we can apply. It depends more local context. We can develop that, or sometimes we can even better idea to borrow, not borrow a method from outside. We can use the exactly same local arts what is there in the community. So we use the, if there is certain kind of musical dialogical singing or songs or practices or festivals, we can use that to gather our data. So we can apply. That's also one kind of very participant observation trick also. We can do that. Yeah. Thank you. See, you are mute.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajib. So, is that any more response towards Rajib? I think Rajib, it is better for you if you could share the manuals to us. Whether you will going to send it through email, I think better, because
Yeah, yeah, I can do.
soon we will going to close the session because it is over anyway. According to the timetable, we have to finish 20 minutes ago.
Oh,
But anyway, thank you very much for Rajib to fulfill the question, the presentation
also, actually,
today.
one last to see some example. I think tomorrow we have art-based methods panel in the same
Yeah.
around like 3 to 5 p.m. Nairobi time. In that time, there will be three presentation from Latin America, from Cyprus,
Okay.
from Rwanda. So these could be example what they are doing. Maybe Chayo will get more answer also tomorrow in that session. What all these
Okay.
other people are doing. We can see the subject
Okay.
topics. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much, everyone. We do hope to see you again uh, this afternoon in Nairobi time, but it will be in the night time in Indonesia. So thank you very much. Kindly coming back to the this MMU link, or with this link. I think I prefer to have this link rather than the MMU, because I don't know whether only me who is not familiar with operating the systems, because of the setting up of my computer that not cooperate with me this time to speak and also to listen to the voice that come through that network. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and I'll see you again at 3 p.m. Nairobi time, or